Let's go behind the mask.
And yes, we are back for another edition of the BTM podcast. I am your host, Takeo Spikes. And I got to bring in my player partner, man, that goes by
your favorite plus size model, Tutan Reyes, in the building.
So you must have did curls today, huh?
Yeah, you know, curls for the girls. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Getting ready. I know it's October. It's getting late in the year, but, you know, you never know when an impromptu vacation might come up.
Yeah, so you got to stay amped up ready, right?
You heard.
All right, man. So we talk about amped up, and I know you be looking at all those YouTube videos of being amped up. But our next guest coming on the BTM podcast show, listen, man, he is YouTube extraordinaire. Ladies and gents, give it up for our dog, FlemLo Raps in the building. What up, Lo?
That's good, man. Happy to be here, bro.
Yo, man, like this is new for the BTM podcast. This is our first time going outside of like the actual playing on the field, whether or not you're running track, basketball. Yeah. But we got a YouTube great, FlemLo.
Yes, sir. First time for me too, man. I'm usually doing the interviewing, I'm doing the questioning. So being on the other side of it, it kind of new for me too. But I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. We it's funny because you know when Tu and I we got together, and this is like I'm gonna save this for the next statement that I'm gonna make. When Tu and I got together, we was like, "Yo, man, what's some of the interesting articles? What's interesting facts that we know?" So we doing research, and I'm like, you know what? Bump the research. We just gonna find out right now, right here, and honestly, how we all got together though, I think is a real cool story. I want to share and let everybody know is we going through YouTube before we even created BTM podcast, and we happened to see like where are they now?
Yeah,
and then actually Stan them they sent it to us, and when Stan sent it to us, we were like, damn, this is pretty good.
During Calvin's final season in college, he won the Biletnikoff Award, which was an acknowledgement of him being the best receiver in college football. With that said, Calvin constantly showed that there was more to him than just the game. During that same year that he won the Biletnikoff Award and finished 10th in the Heisman voting, he worked on a project building solar latrines to help the sanitation in Bolivia. What a GOAT.
And so you looked at another one, and you saw Michael Vick. And it's like, bro, you was almost like you were there because of your research. But then I found out that it was crazy. I thought you was just in the sporting field. But then Tu and I found out, nah, like you a YouTuber. Started out as a gamer and everything. So like, man, like just kind of share your story of how it all became true into fruition.
Man, basically for me, like I played college ball. So I played sports all my life. But always actually kind of had this creative side to me, and it clashed. You know what I mean? It clashed a lot. So I ended up dropping out of college. I got kicked off the football team actually by the guy that kicked me off actually coaches in the league right now. You're running back coach for the Browns, Stump Mitchell. You know, we kind of got into like a little spat or whatever. Like, yeah, we got into a spat, and you know, I was immature at the time, admittedly. And he said some things, I said some things. Anyway, I got kicked off the team, and I decided, like, at that point, all right, I'm gonna go head first into music because that was my first thing. Always been into like storytelling, and just coming up, I grew up in Mississippi, black kid. That was really the only way I knew I was familiar with telling a story. You know what I mean? Just through music. So that's naturally what I gravitated towards. I got a job at a retail store. On commission sales. I was like, all right, make a little money. That way I could fund my music career. 3 months into the thing, I'm the manager. All right. So I go from trying to fund my music career to making a good living in sales. Yeah, running stuff in sales, you know, youngest person in there. And I did that for like 4 or 5 years. But over that time, like I just I don't know, man, it kind of like waned on my spirit, to be honest, because I was selling like the stuff I was selling. I really wasn't proud of what I did. I put it like that, right? I made money, but I didn't feel like I was contributing anything to society. I'm really just taking away. Like I'm like a parasite. And I couldn't really look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't rectify it. So I decided I wanted to do something creative. And ultimately I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. So I dropped my first video, and it's me doing music, because I'm gonna document my journey from sales manager to successful musician, right? Drop a video, quit my job, boom, cold turkey. Now at this point, I find out my girl is pregnant with our son. So I'm like, damn, I gotta go back and get another job.
Gotta be a man now.
Now I gotta, exactly. So I got responsibilities to take care of. So I get another sales job. But the entire year I was there, I never took my eyes off growing my YouTube channel. So what I do is, sales job, you work 12-hour days. I get up at like 4 a.m., record 2 or 3 YouTube videos. I was doing gaming. Let's go. Record 2 or 3 YouTube videos, go to work. I kind of come up with ideas and stuff while I'm at work, because I write like stories for the little characters in the game. I was playing NCAA 14. So when I recruit a player, I give him a whole backstory. You know what I mean? Like, all right, this cat, he grew up like this. He came from this type of home. He liked this type of stuff. And, I put all of that into it. And I think the audience really, that kind of brought them into like this little world we created. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I did that for about a year.
Clarence's parents always talked to him about ownership. It really instilled the hustler's mindset into him. You make your own reality. Never work for another man without a plan to transition into your own thing. Maybe you need to work for him temporarily, but always be stacking to move out on your own. Everybody ain't built for that.
Just waking up early every day, 4 a.m., get home, 8, 9, I work and I upload at midnight. That was my thing early on. Did that for about a year and got from 0 subs to 5,000. And anybody on YouTube know, if you're not selling nothing, then you're really not making a full-time income at 5,000 subscribers usually. But what I was doing, man, I was uploading 3 videos a day and just basically just doing enough so I could pay my bills. Right. So I quit the second job. You know what I mean? One day I just text my boss. I cut my hair into a mohawk, and I was like, I ain't coming back, man. I'm done. Because I really hated the job.
He was a rebel.
What's
the story behind the damn mohawk, though?
The whole year. The story behind the mohawk is I always wanted long hair, which you can see now, I got the locks, right? But when I went into sales, I had to cut my hair because, it's a sales job. You got to be clean cut, got to have a fade, XYZ. And I'm the manager. So I had to adhere to like a certain code, certain dress code, all of that. So I cut my hair in this mohawk that was clearly unacceptable. Hit my boss up like, yo, I'm done. I'm not coming back. And from that point on, I just went head first, man. I went head first into YouTube, and I had to pick up like an Uber job like at some points throughout this thing. But we've seen pretty steady growth ever since then. My son was born right around that same time. And we went from like living in an apartment that I'm not proud of. Like we was in this apartment, man, like once a week, I could look out my window and see somebody getting arrested, like in my apartment complex. It was a bad spot, but it's what I could afford. So I just kept grinding, got a slightly better apartment, kept grinding, slightly better apartment, and now in the house, things are good, and things have been good. I've been doing this now for like 5 years, and it's just been up and up and up, like no explosions and growth, just steady, slow and steady. Never really had too many setbacks, and just trying to get better, trying to put out better content over the course of that whole thing, and really trying to max out my potential as a creator, trying to get everything out of like the talent that I was given, like the little talent that I got. I just want to maximize it. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I got this Dragon Ball Z shirt on, like this Vegeta on here. You can't really see him, but this is my dude because just like his philosophy and just trying to become like the ultimate Super Saiyan. Like that's kind of how I look at life, like what I'm trying to do in my field, and kind of how that works. It ain't necessarily measured by numbers, but by like impact and like the quality of the work that you put out. So that's pretty much who I am. That's what I do, and that kind of like the short version of my journey. You know what I'm saying?
How did you get that mentality? Because we talk about overcoming adversity, the perseverance, focusing on your passion. That's things similar to what Spikes and I did playing ball. We knew what we want to do from a young age. You played ball too, but then you made a smooth 180, and your transition was incredible. Where did you get those lessons from? Was it your upbringing? Was it football? How did you learn those lessons?
Man, it's funny. I think just from I think I kind of got it from a couple of different angles, because my passion early on was sports, it was one of my passions, but that was the issue. Like, to get to and y'all know, to get to the top of sport, you got to be committed. And I was split. Like, my focus would be there, and then I'd be like, I want to do music. I want to write stories. And it's like, I was trying to do too much, and I couldn't focus my attention in any one place. And YouTube, I think, is the desperation, because it was like, either it was this at that point in my life, right? It was either YouTube, or I was going to be working at a sales job forever, because I had about a year to make this work, or I was going to have to go back to sales because I got to take care of my family. You know what I'm saying? So I was completely desperate. My back was up against the wall, and I couldn't take no for an answer. Like, I couldn't take no L. So that's what got me out the bed every day at 4 a.m. You know what I'm saying? To kind of grind that through. There was a book, man. It's a book I read around that time that kind of helped me too. It's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho,
yeah. Fiction book, but it paralleled real life. And just, I'm reading it, and he's talking about like this journey that this guy is going on, and like all the pitfalls and how things get the darkest right before they go up. And you can see that happening in the story. So when I got to them dark points in my life, instead of in the past where I probably retreat and be like, oh no, I need to run back to safety, I was like, okay, if I just push through this, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's on the other side of this? And every single time I ever had that happen and I pushed through and got to the other side, right, it was always something better for me every single time. So after it worked the first time, you do it the second time, and like now it's just hardwired,
Bro, to me, it all sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And like when you talk about like the football, we go back to training camp, and I don't care what school you go to, training camp is it's a mother.
Yeah.
But like the grind of getting up before work, I read somewhere in an article that was published about you. You used to get up because you had to be at work at 10. You used to get up at 5 a.m. to work on your videos. So what is harder when you look at that? Is it harder being able to do that and try to sustain that lifestyle, or was training camp was the hardest thing from a gruesome and toll on your body?
Man, that's a tough question. And honestly, I think it depends slightly on your personality. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, the answer is training camp. Training camp is harder, right? And I think the reason it was harder is because, like, when I'm doing my own thing, I chose to get up at 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to sleep in, I could. But when I was doing training camp and coach came and kicked in the door and fought with coach, whoever he sent with the bullhorn and wake everybody up, it's involuntary. I ain't got no choice in the matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, practice right now. And so when you're making your own content, now some people don't have the discipline to work for themselves. That's a different thing. That's why I say I think it's personality based. But if you got that discipline to work for yourself, and you can say, all right, man, today I ain't feeling it. I'm going to pack it in. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to do something physical. And then tomorrow I'll be back. If you could say that and then actually do it, then you'll be good. But in training camp, it's like, all right, if you ain't feeling it today, I mean, sometimes if you got if you're a vet, your coach might give you some leeway. But generally speaking, for the vast majority of people that play ball, look, bro, when it's time to go, it's time to go. It don't matter what you feel like. It don't matter what kind of mood you in. Like, it's time to turn this on right now. And your whole day scheduled out. So you better just make it work. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was definitely training camp, man. Training camp was tough. Super tough.
You brought back memories, and I hated that when they would come. It was the strength coach usually would come by, and they would knock on the door or blow the bullhorn. And if you ain't get up there, knock on the door, and I'll be like, what? Like, what do you want? There's no reason to wake me up. But you talked about your little man. Guess what? It's going to come a time when they get about 12, 13, and you know they're supposed to get up for school.
Yeah.
You won't be knocking on that door doing the same thing, bro. I did it to my daughter. But what I do, I set the alarm clock, the real old school alarm clock.
Yeah.
I set it for like, say she's supposed to be up at 7 o'clock, 7:05, she's still asleep. I had an alarm clock. I walk right in her room, sneak in the room, sit it by her bed, and let it go off right in the ear. But nah, man. Listen, though, I think the dopest part is how you took some of those lessons and you made it still your success to this day. But speaking of those memories, tell me a memory from your YouTube, your interviews, your going back in the past. One story that you remember that sticks with you and resonates with you to this day from all your interviews.
It's a couple. So probably the one that stick with me the most. Well, it's a few, man. I'll say that the Josh Gordon story. The Josh Gordon story resonated with me so deep, and I still remember it because when I did that video, and there's this research that was just on the internet. I'm looking through articles, I'm watching every interview, I'm just getting information from everywhere I could get it from.
Here's a statement from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Many people don't understand why or how other people become addicted to drugs. They may mistakenly think that those who use drugs lack moral principles or willpower, and that they could stop their drug use simply by choosing to. In reality, drug addiction is a complex disease.
And like I found out that he came from a home where, there was addiction. I found out that he started, actually experimenting with these different type of substances, let's say, when he was like in 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't know that. Like all I knew was, stay off the weed. That's all I knew. So like when I saw like how he actually got addicted to this stuff when he was a kid and he's still trying to deal with that now, I looked at the situation totally different because I feel like everybody was judging him, man. Like he just couldn't just stop smoking marijuana. But I'm like, his issues was so much deeper than that. But the way it was covered in the media, at least everything I ever saw, it skipped past like all the other context. And that don't make it right. You know what I'm saying? But I just appreciated having like the extra context. And people I got so many emails. Like I get emails a lot, but like that video specifically was a 2-parter. I got my email flooded with people just saying like, I never knew this about him. I never looked at it like that. And you really changed my perspective on, on how I look at this person and like to not judge the athletes and think that, look, bro, just because the man can run fast and jump high don't mean that he's not susceptible to every other thing that every other human go through. You know what I'm saying? And so that was one that stick out. As far as like one of the weirdest stories, man, is 2. Kellen Winslow Jr. entire story is crazy. Like that video got demonetized. I can't even say some of the stuff, but like if you just watch that video,
I remember that, bro.
Wow,
yeah,
wow stuff. And then another one that's a little lighter, you know what I'm saying? Because that Kellen Winslow stuff is heavy. It's a little lighter, but still weird. Was David Boston, man? David Boston. Random fact: one day before practice, this man went and got his nipples pierced. And then went to practice and was like, he demanded nobody touch him because he had just got this done. And he was sensitive. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing I ever heard. Like I felt crazy even saying it on camera. Like
the man got his nipples pierced, bro. He got his nipples pierced the same day that he had practice. Then he went to practice, announced that he had gotten it done and that the DBs better not hit him because he was tender. This is not, you can't make this up.
But wild story.
That's a pause-worthy moment right there.
Dude, like, I'm typing this up, and like when I typed it, I was like, yeah, whatever. But when I had to say it on camera, I was like, I don't even really feel like saying this, bro. I think I said it. I left it in the video, and my reaction afterward was just like, I can't believe this man even got me saying this on camera right now. But this is something I found in my research, and I wanted it to be in the video. So boom, here I go. But yeah, it was a wild story.
I think you're a great storyteller, and for a lot of people look for insight, and that's why when we found you, man, we just thought it was like so compelling, bro. Like, because to be able to tell a story that sounds like you were first person there, but you were not, and to nail it on every one, like, that's commendable, man. And
Thank you.
And just looking forward now, like, what keeps you going when you tell these stories? How do you pick out certain guys to be able to highlight?
I think what keep me going is honestly, and I don't even, it's not me saying that what I do is like better than what nobody else do, but it's different. Like, I feel like the way I approach a story, probably because of my background, my upbringing, and all of that stuff. And I'm just a very empathetic person just by nature anyway. So I think that helps a lot. I think it kind of fills a void that's not there, because what we normally get with athletes is a lot of time in the coverage is cats just getting torn down, getting disrespected, you know what I'm saying, as people. And we only want to talk about them as athletes. And then every time they make a mistake, oh, they wasting talent, or an idiot, or they this, instead of like, let's get the context. You feel me? It don't make what they doing right. And I always make sure I say that, like, okay, what he did right here, this was dumb. Let's give the context as to how he got into this position, though. And let's think about all the dumb stuff that we've done. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like that's kind of like what guides me and what kind of keep me going as far as the videos. As far as who I choose, it can honestly be random, man. When I started, like, my first 20 What Happened To videos was all just a request. It was whatever the top comment was in the comment section. And then over time, I just kind of started. Sometimes I feel like talking about, like, I just did a video on Dak Prescott. I saw him get injured. It struck a chord with me, and I wanted to talk about it, so I made a video.
So today we go back and visit his past and bring it all full circle up until that fateful moment that ended his 2020 season. This is what happened to Dak Prescott, part 1. Get well soon, bro.
And then, so I do it like that. Sometimes it's a person that's highly requested. Sometimes something happened in the news that bring the person up, and so it's current again. Sometimes, like, I did a video on Bob Sanders not too long ago. I just remember, like, for me growing up watching football with my dad, like, players that was impactful, and like people today don't really talk about or don't remember. And I'd be like, let me just, you know what I'm saying? Let me shine some light on this. And so I just go and do it like that. So it come about different ways.
And one of the things I think is dope is you taking this platform of YouTube that people often go to for various reasons. Like you said, just they want to get something off their chest. They may be looking to monetize whatever they're selling or whatever they got going on. Tell our people, we're going to go behind the mask. You got to give them some jewels for the people that's aspiring to get on YouTube or to be a gamer or to be an artist or something like that. The next FlemLo Raps. How do they go about that process of being successful on that YouTube platform?
Okay, so it's different ways you can go about it. I can only really say how I did it, and be warned, I am a what would you call it? I'm kind of an obsessive person, right? I'm one of the people that just care about what I care about, but I care about it. Like, I'll talk about what I want to talk about all day. You feel me? So, like, I get real obsessed about stuff. When I got into YouTube, that's how it was. I watched I learned how to do YouTube on YouTube. I'd never made a video before. I didn't know how to edit videos. I didn't know nothing about audio equipment, nothing about cameras. I didn't know nothing about storytelling, really. So everything I did on YouTube was me, how to do this. 50 videos pop up. Let's watch them all. You know what I'm saying? And some of them, you'll get good information. You start to hear the same thing over and over. For instance, you need to be consistent. Yeah, you got to have acceptable video, but audio quality is probably the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? And then once you get into the nuanced stuff, is you finding whatever field you want to go into, you really need to find a void to fill. It's either be the best ever. Like, if you just come in and do what I do, just be better than everybody that's doing videos similar to me. Maybe that's the case. Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some really talented people that do this stuff. But if you find where you different, which is what I did, instead of competing directly, I kind of found my niche, you know what I'm saying? And what I could offer, I could kind of fill this void in this space. And I think that helped. I did the same thing when I was doing my gaming content in the NCAA stuff. At the time, everybody that was doing NCAA football 14, the video game, content was doing it like an announcer. So they'll play the game, report it, and then they'll come back and they're kicking off to like that. I did live com. So I'm my face on camera, I'm playing the game. When I throw a pick, you see me throw my controller. You know what I'm saying? I did it like that. And then I also put the stories in with the players. So I was just finding ways to separate my content from other content to give people a reason to watch me, and not necessarily not watch another person, but to watch me in addition to this other content, because you're getting something different from it. So I think that's really the thing to keep in mind the most is find what separates you in whatever niche that you want to go into, and then lean into that. You know what I'm saying?
All right, bro. It's obvious that whatever you decide to do and whatever you put your hands on, you're pretty successful at it. So I want to know, I want to get a little insight, not only for myself, but for everybody who's out there listening. What's next for FlemLo? What's big? What's the next big thing?
Like, basically, just expect constant growth. Like, I'm thinking about actually going back to school, take some writing courses, doing some things like that. I'm just trying to get better at what I do. Like, I recently added a second camera angle. I'm trying to get deeper into the stories. And another thing that I might get into a little bit more is and I'm gonna start that with you, is actually sitting down and interviewing and talking to the players directly. To this point, I'm going off of information that I find on the internet. And I think I always do that, but maybe adding a different piece of content where I'm actually talking to the players directly and getting their insight. You know what I'm saying? But just making sure my research and everything is good going into it. So we actually getting like similar content to what I already do, but just heightened because you're getting a firsthand, you know what I mean? You're getting it firsthand now from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, but fam, you covered a ton of athletes. Where are they now? Let me ask you, who's your favorite athlete and who's your favorite team in the league?
Okay. My favorite team, I go team first because that's easy. My favorite team is the Cincinnati Bengals. Been my team for probably since I was by like 9th grade, something like that. Weird story because, again, I'm from Mississippi. So I became a fan of this team because Mississippi, obviously, we don't have no team. So my dad is a Cowboys fan. My uncle, who stayed like right next to me, was a Dolphins fan. My other uncle, Eagles fan. So every male I know,
y'all everywhere.
Exactly. Every male I know growing up got their own team. So I think that's just how it go. I don't realize till later that when I go to these cities and I kind of move around a little bit that, everybody in Louisiana pretty much pull for the Saints. I mean, you got a couple of Dallas fans, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part. So I didn't even understand that until way later. I didn't know it was weird. But I came in, I played receiver. And my dad had me watching Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin growing up. And when Chad Johnson came in, Chad looked like and sound like one of my cousins. Like, you know what I mean? He had the goals, he had the Southern dialect. So that just brought me into it. And I became a fan of Chad, started watching the team. And now you got TJ Houshmandzadeh, you got Chris Henry, rest in peace. And I get into the Bengals organization like that. And I stayed down. You know what I'm saying? I stayed loyal and I just been a fan ever since.
So you know this joker here, you know this joker Spikes then, huh? You follow this
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Drafted by my squad. You feel me? So
listen, man, I respect anybody who has withstood the damn ass whoopings and everything.
It's been tough, man.
It's been a tough ride for Bengals fans, so I can appreciate that. When it was good though, it was good.
When it was good, it was good. And when it was good, it was good. But yeah, I mean, you talk about a person that lived in Baton Rouge around nothing but Saints fans. And so they successful every year, complaining about, making it to like the conference championship or something. Meanwhile, my team over here struggle. We just trying not to get the first pick in the draft. You know what I'm saying? So it been a long road, but whenever we get back to relevance, you know what I'm saying? It'll be worth it. You feel me?
Spikes, I don't know if I ever told you this story, man. People in the hood back where I'm from in Southside, Jamaica, Queens, they thought I was a Bengals fan, right? I was a Giants fan, but my mom's took me to Jamaica Avenue to get back. Remember they had them triple fat gooses? Did y'all have those?
Yeah.
The big, the big puffy coats. So They didn't have
Hold
no
on,
giant.
man. Why you trying to act like we can't get triple fat gooses in the South?
No,
bro?
no. What I'm saying is because in Sandersville,
Come on,
Georgia,
you see this guy, man?
there was no real winters back then in the 80s, bro. In the 90s.
Winner.
There was no real winners. Like don't.
The winner, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why would you need a goose? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, for the 2 weeks, the goose be fresh.
But nah, so they didn't have no Giants jackets left, triple fat gooses left. So I got a Bengals one because the orange and black was tough. And y'all had just went to the Super Bowl against the Niners, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So I had the triple fat goose. It was cool. I'm in this junior high school called 72. Man, these dudes one day I leave school, and what they would do is they would kick everybody out the yard to go outside after school was over. I stayed because I had to talk to a teacher. Something. I'm outside, and this dude is like, "Yo, he's like, yo, you got beef with my cousin." I was like, I don't know who your cousin is. He said, "Yeah, you do. You got beef with my cousin." So he came up to me. He was like, "Yeah, talk that shit now." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, matter of fact, he's like, "Yo, take off your coat. Talk that shit now." So he goes to unzip my jacket. I'm like, they trying to steal my coat. I was like, yeah, yo. So they did the old school joint where you go behind somebody and get on all fours and they try to push you. So they pushed me. But me being the athlete I am, I stepped over the dude. So after that, I looked at the teacher, the security guard. I'm like, yo, somebody go have to get, something gonna go down because they're about to jump me. So my dudes couldn't come back in the gate. But eventually the teachers opened the gate and we all went outside. It's like, I got to take it outside. After my boys was there, ain't nothing happened. But, I had the Bengals jacket. So after that, after I outgrew it, I ain't never rock with the Bengals no more because of the jacket, man. It's y'all reason, y'all fault. That Bengals jacket, they trying to jump me, man.
So you getting bullied at the playground.
Listen, man, it was the fly ass Bengals jacket. You know what I'm saying?
Already,
I got the
man.
coat now. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you a crazy story too, though. Now I actually posted this on my Instagram. Younger, it was right. Hell, it had to be like mid 80s or something, late 80s. I wanted a starter coat, and I wanted the Atlanta Falcons. My mom was notorious for like buying stuff that we would want, but it would just always get the wrong team, man. And so, like, this is crazy though. She actually bought me the Bengals coat, starter coat. And and she took a picture of me in it. She bought my sisters the Yankees. So when I got drafted, and on the day like we did our celebration after I got drafted, she put the same picture that she took back in the late 80s with me in this starter coat. I got drafted first round, 13 pick to the Bengals. Yeah. She showed me this picture and she was like, "Don't never say it's by accident. This was fate." And she was like, "By the way, you always going to be in debt for me not only giving you that name, but in order helping you to get drafted to the Bengals in the first round. You never can say no to me." So I was like, I guess we good. We good.
She spoke it into existence.
Yeah, she did, man. Yeah, that's Carl, man. Hey, bro, but, man, we appreciate the time, my dog, man. Thanks for dropping in on the BTM podcast show. Sure. And anytime you want to come back, my brother, you just holler at us and let us know, man. We're going to make room for you.
I'll definitely be back. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
For sure.